Kryon, State of Ascension greetings, my dear ones. I am Kryon of the Magnetic Service. It is a timely time. These 4 days might be full of language you have not heard before. I am not talking about language like a light language. I am talking about English terms you don't understand. I say that because you are almost ready to understand, perhaps, and even open a dimensional membrane. There are those who do not appreciate Kryon channeling because it demystifies the new age. They love magic. They only want magic, and they do not care how it is done. Do you know who is the master of the physics of this universe and all the multiverses around it? Do you know that spirit that you call the creative source that some call God has done everything that is doable through the laws of physics? There is no magic or mystery, my dear ones. There are simply things in physics that you do not yet understand, and dimensionality is one of them. So you cannot then talk about going into another dimension and say, well, it's magic. Instead, most of you assign a number to it. That's fine, but you must somehow, in your mind, linearize the various things you expect, or that you can do, or are moving towards, to then understand them. And what if I told you that those days are limited? You might go into something that is not what you thought. You talk about dimensionality so vaguely, and perhaps it's because you don't really understand what it is. Are there invisible people in other dimensions around you? Most of you would say, well, yes, we believe that. The entourage of spirit that is now in this room with each of you. Why can't you see it? Is it possible that the physics of the universe allows you not to see it? That too is not magic. So, what this question raises an answer. Could it be that if you understood it more, the entourage might be a little more visible? Would you like that? This is the beginning of planet Earth's shift into the state of Ascension. This is the beginning of planet Earth's shift into the state of Ascension. It has to start somewhere. And it already has. Moving out of the shift, the 5 years leading up to 2030 mark the beginning of what is a dimensional shift in many ways. There will be much time that will have to be traversed, one might say, with lightworkers who will live longer, shift dimension, and, in the dimensional shift, learn things they never knew before. So, even before we start talking about dimensionality, we need to revisit one point. It is the most critical thing and it definitely has energy, and it is called consciousness. Did you know that even the famous Greek philosophers couldn't define consciousness? It's not biology, my dear ones. It goes beyond. Even in ancient times, there were shamans. All over Earth, there are places where you can see shamans who have imprinted their handprints into solid rock, and then removed them. All over Earth, not just in one place. How is that possible? If I told you it is high-level physics combined with the energy of consciousness, would you understand? Consciousness is probably the most potent energy on the planet. Did you hear that? So what happens when the dimensional change begins on this planet and consciousness begins to transform into something you've never seen on the planet except through the masters? That is what is happening. That is what will happen. Now here's the thing you probably don't understand yet, and you will as we go along. There is a limit to how high consciousness can go within a specific dimensional plane. Now, there are times when it can go beyond and come back, but it cannot sustain itself unless there is a dimensional jump. If there were a dimensional jump on this planet, it would allow consciousness to spin more freely, to spin higher. Now we are getting into physics again. Dimensionality is not that difficult. It simply isn't. You have a line on a piece of paper and you look at it. That is one dimension. The line suddenly becomes thicker. It widens. Now it has added a dimension. Number 2. It stands up and the line is suspended in the air. This is the third dimension. It's simple. You have lived in 3D for a long time. Until you discovered there was another one. In what time frame is that line on the paper? Now you have to discover whether time is variable. Einstein said yes, so that's the fourth. The line can choose what time frame it is in depending on the observer and their speed. That's all physics. Now you're up to 4. Now it gets a little dicey because there are many, especially in the new age, who want to perceive other things they are receiving and call them 5. But in almost all cases, there is a global assumption about dimensionality, and they will say, this planet is moving to the 5th dimension. No, it's not. Individual humans are doing so if they have higher consciousness. Do you see? I tell you, perhaps for the first time you hear it, that this is not a global dimensional shift. It is a global dimensional shift of consciousness, in that all the lightworkers who have been here for a certain amount of time, who care about themselves and work for higher truth, are then the ones who will receive a dimensional shift so their consciousness can rise higher. And all those who don't, remain in the dimension they were in. What do you think? Suddenly, you get the idea that you can have humans walking the planet, and they are definitely in different dimensions. They are not all in 5 or 6. Have you ever heard of the Menehune? They are here, you know. They inhabit the secret valleys of one of the most enchanting Hawaiian islands, Kauai, and they are real. You might say they are dimensional remnants of high-consciousness Lemurians, and you would be right. Are they visible? Answer: when they wish to be. How old are they? And the answer is yes. Are they corporeal? And the answer is no, only when they wish to be. Now, that must be exceptionally high consciousness, and it is. Now let me redefine something that especially the New Age wants to believe, and that has never happened. They have completely and totally the New Age mislabeled high technology. There is this idea that when we go back to Lemuria, they have flying machines, all these other things because they have super advanced technology. And by the way, they somehow misused it and obviously were punished because that's what the church tells you. That's what humans do, and that's what happens to them. This wonderful loving God of yours then becomes a punisher. Let me redefine high technology for you. High consciousness is high technology. High consciousness, where you can choose to be invisible or not in the dimensionality you are in, if you don't wish to be or don't want to be within it, that is high technology. When you start applying dimensionality to the human being, its meaning changes radically. Suddenly, a human is in 4D? Answer: they have never been. The human is a multidimensional being who has the ability to travel through many dimensions, and only later chooses some of them, until now. There are also people in this room who will feel the dimensional shift and realize they can do things they could not do before. They can do it mainly with themselves, with their own bodies. There are solutions coming, even in this room, for the observer, for things that have been stuck or old or immobile, or that have not resolved for years, and 2026 will be the beginning of that conclusion of so many things that have not yet concluded for you. You will begin to have an intuition you never had before and wonder where it comes from. And that is because a dimensional shift is coming. Let's go all the way to the top so you understand where it can go, even on this planet, and it's pure physics, my dear ones. Your consciousness can affect the physical plane you walk on, and you can therefore have a much higher consciousness than anyone else working on it, and you won't necessarily see each other, but it can be perceived. When the masters walked this planet, so many people wanted to follow them. They just felt it. The consciousness was like a bubble expanding around those masters. They just wanted to be with them, just sit with them, just be next to them. That is a consciousness emanating love. It is so close to the other side of the veil, where the soul lives, that you can't perceive the difference, and that's why you want to be with them. So come with me for a moment to talk about something that happened in history, that was seen, verified, beautiful and mysterious. Here is the master of love who chooses to walk on water. Talk to me about this magic, Kryon. There was no magic. This was a consciousness controlling the density of the physics in the area he wanted. The water became solid to walk on because the master made it so. But the next thing is what I want to talk to you about. That same day that master fed thousands of people with food that did not appear until he wanted it. There was no food, and then there was food. I will also describe what that is. This is the master's ability for. Are you ready for the word, alchemy? When you take certain types of molecular or atomic structure with certain attributes, with electrons, and spin it so fast that that particular atom can then choose what it wants to be, you have just alchemized atomic structure and created fish when there were no fish, or rocks when there were no rocks, or maybe life there was no life. This is the example of the highest consciousness you have seen on the planet. Now take it one step further. Those ascended from the stars not only have mastery, they have complete control over everything that is physical. That is why they can ride the membranes of dimensionality and reach this planet instantly. All of them are interconnected with everything else. There is no place. There is no A or B or distance. How about that? This planet is headed for the state of ascension. It will be the appearance of what you might call masters, and that is why there will be no need for channeling. When you are even a few hundred years in, dear ones, you will all be connected to the various things you need to be connected to, and they will not all be the same. And that is the other thing I want to tell you. There is this idea of global connection where everyone will progress to the same level, and will then be connected to this or another energy, and everyone will perceive it at the same time. This does not support the individuality that manifests with dimensionality. Each of you will be in touch with those you need to be in touch with, so that collectively, when you come together, you will have a broader vision, and that will begin a compassionate change on the planet. The way of thinking will be different, but none of you will need to turn to a channeler. You will begin to see divinity in so many things. Now here is what I want to say to all those who are listening. To all of you in this room, so special and so loving from a creative source that knows your soul. When you move past this shift, which you have just experienced, and begin to move into another kind of dimensionality that I have not yet fully described, but will describe sooner or later something happens. The very systems of what you call metaphysics begin to change. Now, this has been prophesied before and here it is in front of you. How many of you would want to come back? And the answer would be, very few. You don't like this planet. It's ugly. It is full of darkness, lack of compassion, rudeness, imbalance, inefficiency. Why would you ever return to something you had to endure life after life? And the answer is because everything changes starting now. What if I told you that you will return and everything you know now, you will know upon your arrival, that all the influences of bad past lives will no longer be yours, that there will be no more karma, that you will arrive and, as soon as you have known the planet, even as infants you will know who you are. You will never make the same mistakes again. You will recognize love the first time. You will seek certain kinds of compassion. You will be the ones voting for compassionate politicians. You will be the ones knowing things because of the present. This is a dimensional shift, my dear ones. It is profound. And this has never been an energy on this earth until now. Do you understand? Those who watch this program are of two types. Those who begin to feel inside that this is the truth they were waiting for, and the others who will roll their eyes and say it is the most ridiculous thing they have ever seen. This is the split that will begin. One we have already talked about. This is what will test your compassion, my dear ones. And when you begin to have in your life people, if you haven't already, who will call you crazy and think you are on a very strange path. How could you? This is your chance to love them with a compassion they have never seen before. Not to convert them, not to teach them something, but to love them, and the love will teach them something. This is the kind of thing you will have to face in the coming years. This dimensional shift will be real. You will feel it. And there will be things that start to happen on the planet, and you will say, well, it's about time. And you will know I am right. The energy is not done screaming and yelling yet. It still has 5 years, but it is there, in a corner, and you are here. It's in the back seat, and you are driving. That is the difference. And it will start soon, very soon. You have passed the shift, dear ones, and there is so much to tell you. And so it is. Jeshua. What does 2026 have in store? Part 2. On every continent, people are beginning to rise up, so that individual states can no longer pursue their global ambitions, as all socio-political energy and state attention must be turned inward. What has been visibly heralded in recent years is now turning into a conflagration, a widespread awakening, which will shake all dark plans to their foundations and ultimately cause them to collapse. Dear ones, I am Jesus Christ. I am omnipresent among those who are ready to repent and on the ascending earth. We are many and our numbers grow each day, so it is now possible to make concrete changes for the better. Collective awakening. The vast majority of humanity remains in a state of waiting. However, these days are numbered, for a spiritual restlessness has gripped humanity. People are beginning to awaken inwardly, meaning, the collective awakening is imminent. Specifically, the coming year 2026 will bring both war and peace. Existing conflicts will subside, while new ones will arise. We are still in the transition phase of Ascension and still in the corridor towards the new timeline in the 5th dimension. The dark forces are still playing their games until humanity rediscovers its own strength and remembers who it is and where it comes from. Darkness serves the light, evil serves good, darkness demands light. And until a critical number of people understand this game and are ready to give it up, the status quo will remain. I tell you, people's love is awakening, hearts are being healed, and man is freeing himself from his spiritual imprisonment. Specifically, this means, America will be increasingly plagued by internal unrest, which will accelerate its end as a hegemonic power. In Europe, the political crisis will continue to worsen, meaning that more and more people will lose trust in the power structure of the European Union and individual states will have to reorient themselves. What has been hinted at and heralded in recent years will intensify month by month, so that, as has already been announced to you, the end of this union is drawing ever closer. China will consolidate its external position, while internally the people will rebel against the ruling system. Even this proud nation will be afflicted by internal problems until a change of mindset occurs and people perceive technology as a blessing rather than a curse. Africa continues to emancipate itself and in doing so helps ensure that the peoples of Europe, North America, South America, Asia and Australia are no longer manipulated by the ruling elites. Germany seems to sink deeper and deeper into the abyss. But the people are waking up more and more. But what can be done when a small group that has taken control of the state is dragging it towards the abyss? And at this point, the spirit of the times becomes blatantly evident. Lies can no longer persist for long, and this also means big changes for the German political landscape. Changes that initially avert Germany's greatest misfortune, which lies in the abandonment of self. Here, divine intervention comes to the rescue, because what has remained in the heart of the German people is the love for their homeland, love for themselves, love for what they are. Unnoticed and barely visible, the German people have consciously guarded this self-love. This hidden strength protects Germany from the complete self-abandonment that would otherwise be inevitable. Germany is rebelling, after the peoples bordering Germany have rebelled. Germany is the last country in line, but after the peoples have rebelled, it will be the first country to arrive in the new era. Russia proceeds unhesitatingly on its path of preserving what keeps its soul alive. Russia remains an anchor in turbulent times and will ultimately survive all upheavals unscathed, emerging stronger. Russia's defensive struggle against the interests of the global powers will be crowned with success, and the Russian soul will not forget what has been done to it, but will forgive and forgive. Middle East peace still seems far away. Conflicts are intensifying throughout the region, while at the same time the demand for peace is growing louder. World peace originates in Jerusalem. Once this spiritual battle, between the divine and satanic principles, is decided, all of humanity will begin to reorient itself. Turning to the divine, humanity will begin to overcome what divides it and dissolve divisions. When the religions of one place not only tolerate each other, but perceive each other as equals, then the unity of humanity will be realized. JJK. When will this happen, after all the millennia of conflict in this region? Jesus Christ. Millennia of destructive cycles have been followed by millennia of constructive cycles. World peace is not a matter of years, but of divine cycles, and the cycle of division is now over. Unidentified flying object sightings of unidentified flying objects continue to increase worldwide. This is due to two reasons. 1. This fact is no longer denied by institutions. 2. We are making ourselves more visible. The first contact that many people eagerly awaited has already taken place, because for years we have been in direct exchange, in a direct relationship, in direct communication with people. Those who wait for the heavenly powers to visibly intervene on earth, revealing themselves worldwide in the sky, wait in vain, because what is expected has already happened. The intervention of heaven on earth together with humanity. Artificial intelligence. This technology reduces some people to dwarfs and transforms others into true giants. The question remains, how do you interact with it and where do you direct your energy and attention? Towards the artificial or towards the divine? Artificial intelligence is the crossroads where the individual determines their own direction and where all of humanity decides its own future. Your orientation. What should the individual focus on in the midst of all the expected and provoked upheavals? On their daily work in the vineyard of God. There is no other activity that should take precedence over this work now. Seeing what still needs to be done in one's own life to remain steadfast in faith and unwavering in trust in God. Seeing one's own transformation work confirmed in everyday life. Acting with confidence and presenting oneself with one's own strength. Your transformation work should not only bring joy to yourself, but should also be visible to those around you. The point is to see everyday life as a playground to test your spiritual intuitions and strengthen yourself. Not to behave as a master, but to behave as a master. This is the exercise to master in 2026. Embrace it, because 2026 also marks a new beginning in this sense. The work of God. What was yesterday is no more. What will be tomorrow is a mystery. What is today is your gift. Time loses its meaning and space gains it. This means that, through the power of your consciousness and the power of your accomplished inner healing work, you can give people a living example of self-confidence and direction, of assertiveness and clarity, of freedom and presence. To you, Master, is now given the space to live your dream. For it takes less and less effort to walk the path of light, since you yourself have become the path you once walked. This is the new dimension that awakened people are entering. Endowed with faith, trust and love, you are changing the world and humanity is becoming new. The year 10 marks the beginning of a new divine cycle. With the number 2, which creates new connections, and with the number 6, which unites opposites, bringing together foreign peoples and different individuals. The epoch-making year 2026 is approaching, in which the work of God becomes visible in humanity itself. Fill your heart with gratitude and your life with spirit, so that suffering may be abandoned and the blessings of heaven may spread on earth. God is in man and man is in God. Revelations also happen when eyes cannot see them, because everything that endures in time originates and happens within you. So turn inward to continue or begin your path of ascension. With infinite love, Jesus Christ Mastery. Dear beloved ones, while I speak directly to your heart and soul and all that you are in truth, let this be known in the depths of your heart, soul and being. What was before is no more. You cannot go back. Only now can you fully step into the truth of who and what you are, into the truth, and live it with heart and soul and all that you are in truth. What was before contributed to your soul's growth and attainment of degrees of mastery, in ways you simply could not comprehend in the density of old earth and in all the indoctrination and false programming you received. Now you are finally freed from all that, but you must also reclaim your freedom as a sovereign soul and stand fully in your light, fully soul-empowered. Doing this, you will gain a broader perspective. Your vast talents, abilities, knowledge and much more of the soul will become fully available as your consciousness rises. The more consciousness rises, the more you are reclaiming all aspects of your soul, from when it was immortal when first born from the divine source, as well as being fully merged with your monad, now of seventh dimension. It means reclaiming your mastery. Now it will often seem to you that you have become an observer of life on old earth. That is how it must be. You will find that family and friends who are not yet fully awakened and aware will not understand what is happening and will try to pull you back, or pull you back to the concept of what they thought you were, because they could never really see you, and never your true soul, and see you anyway in their perception of what you are, and yet this was never the real you. Simply, keep your heart open and do not allow yourself to be pulled back by trying to please them. The more you live your life, the more you become a beacon of pure radiant light, lovingly showing them the home of their soul and their opportunities for ascension, without having to say a single word. Silence speaks louder than words, as does living your truth. Now as you fully embrace a new life and a new beginning in the seventh dimensional state, you will reunite with your true soul family again. Note that this is a process, for each soul has a unique way of reconnecting, and often this reconnection happens first with one's soul family on the galactic and universal planes, and then with those on Earth, mainly because in your sleep state you are always reunited with your true soul family and your galactic home. And yet, when the time is right, all who have ascended will meet and together anchor in the new golden age. In truth, you are always one. And this state of awareness will grow within you. Little one, remember the love that you are in truth, and, as this love expands to include all sentient beings, you become harmless and are thus able to communicate heart to heart, soul to soul, heart coherence field to heart coherence field, and you will find this happens naturally. Because your soul knows. And this knowing now returns. Trust. Your soul's knowing more than any external knowledge presented. What resonates deeply within you is truth. For divinity is within. Yes, it is not easy to fully immerse oneself in the unknown and now co-create anew. But little one, your soul has been given all the necessary tools to navigate the new, and the unknown is nothing but the infinite space you are returning to, and which you have not yet allowed yourself to explore, to expand and to fully embrace. This is where you will now begin to merge with your ascended master and with the archangels, and we will assist you in the process of fully anchoring into what you are destined to create and leave as a lasting legacy, as a forerunner of the new Adam Kadmon seventh root who Son Man, and, at the same time, you will guide and assist the new children who already are this and help them utilize their immense soul talents, gifts and knowledge from the moment they are born. Rise up, rise up, rise up. The time has come. Rise up, rise up, rise up. Become divine love, in thought, word, action. Words will fade, as telepathy is the new means of communication, as is consciousness. Rise up, rise up, rise up. Dragon Tribes. Your inherent power channeled by Caroline Oceana Ryan. A message from the Dragon Tribes of the Higher Light. Dear ones, we speak to you as one now, to remind you of your inherent power to elevate your life on Earth and that of the entire planet to a vibrational level much higher than you are experiencing now. Although your Earth appears in turmoil in many ways, which some of you find very distressing and others are insensitive to, the light is carrying you forward in every way. You are never alone in this. Sometimes you stress over financial matters, health or weight issues. Sometimes you feel challenged as you try to overcome family problems or relationship difficulties. Or the desire for a new life partner always seems out of reach. Yet you are capable of releasing the feeling of need in all of this and more. We now transmit to you the energies of inner strength and determination. The decision not to be carried away by what you see outwardly, as if it were the hallmark of reality in your experience, but to be carried by what you desire to experience. And this is much more than the excess money, physical health, and fulfilling relationships you desire, as great as these blessings may be. It is the awareness that your adherence to your higher instinct is sovereign in your life, at all times and in every way. So that even when disappointments, tragedies, or shocks present themselves in your day, you can bless and thank them for showing you something that must now be healed, overcome, or corrected in some way. You do not resent them, nor do you ask why. Instead, you face them and smile, as you would with a naughty child who is simply tired or hungry and needs your care and attention. You are grateful to them for shouting, because when your child cries or falls, you respond. You attend to their need. You are grateful for the signals indicating there is something to pay attention to. At a higher level, you are relieved that these issues appear. Because you are tired, friends, of carrying the old weight, the old problems, the old agreements, from one lifetime to another. You came into this life saying, "Enough. I will let these situations present themselves, so I can release or heal them once and for all time and space, for all existence." And that is how you have faced in this life and often are still facing, what your earthly self does not prefer, but which your soul placed before you, like a story that must be abandoned now. No longer defining or guiding any part of your life. No longer leaving you in the dust or smoke that rises from confusion and loss. No longer lowering your vibration, but spurring you to elevate it permanently much higher. Yes, you are fully capable of integrating the revolution that are the new light codes flowing now into your conscious and subconscious mind, and of revising your DNA to much higher levels. And so, in your determination to move forward, you are now thanking what is difficult and deciding, this must heal. And therefore I no longer resist. I no longer fall into sadness or anger over the situation. I bless it. I let it know it is safe to let go. I am safe. I receive its message. And I move from struggle to calm. I move higher. I fill this with light and release it to my soul and my higher self. All is well. And so it is, friends. You are the path builders, the trailblazers. This time you came intentionally to speak the energetic language of light, of your soul families and your star nation origins. The Pleiadian Tagetan light energetic language of the dragon realms. Because this is energy, and it is not something the left brain hemisphere can grasp. This comes through you energetically, through your very presence, even in moments of silence. You came to free yourself from powerlessness, feelings of loss, and anger when life doesn't go as you wish. To anchor higher realities. You came here to stand above external circumstances, not to succumb under their weight. And you came to finally love yourself fully. The inner child, the inner youth, the current self in all its glory, whatever happens outwardly, whatever your reaction. You are the light itself, expressing in human form. And your power and presence are endless. We send you so much love, friends who are family. All is well now and in every time and space. And so it is.